Thank you for visiting the Combs Waterkotte website and our Federal Embezzlement Defense Lawyers in Missouri website page. Regardless of the crime, we believe everyone is entitled to the best possible legal defense in the state of Missouri. We have created this audio version of our website page to help you better understand our services and protect your future, freedom, and reputation. If you have been charged with federal embezzlement in the state of Missouri, we can help. Don't face the state and court system alone during your federal embezzlement charge. Contact one of our Federal Embezzlement Defense Lawyers today at 314-900-HELP to protect your rights and future. Combs Waterkotte is committed to handling all federal embezzlement defense cases with confidential care and understanding. We are not here to judge you. We believe that everyone in Missouri, regardless of the crime they have been charged with, deserves an aggressive legal defense and to have their legal rights protected. With that being said, let's discuss hiring our Federal Embezzlement Defense Lawyers in Missouri and setting up a free consultation with our attorneys. Federal Embezzlement Lawyer in Missouri. The U.S. Code prohibits misappropriating property from the U.S. government, its programs, and federally regulated banks. The punishment for federal embezzlement varies based on the value of the property allegedly taken. The Missouri Federal Embezzlement Lawyers at Combs Waterkotte have the experience and resources to push back against federal prosecutors and protect the rights of the accused. We've handled over 10,000 cases, just like yours. The crime of embezzlement. American law has always protected property from theft and larceny. This offense occurs when someone takes property without the owner's permission, with the intent to deprive the owner of its use or benefit. However, some theft cases presented a conceptual difficulty. What happens when someone misappropriates property that was lawfully entrusted to them? Typically, larceny involves deception, fraud, or violence to acquire the property. In the aforementioned example, the party took possession of the property lawfully and didn't employ any of these tactics to obtain it. One view was that this is simply a civil case where the property owner could sue the person who misappropriated it. Another was that the misappropriation constitutes theft, and prosecutors could pursue criminal charges. The second view prevailed in most states, as well as the federal government. These jurisdictions have laws against embezzlement, where a person who misappropriates the property entrusted to them faces punishment, even if they lawfully possessed it. Federal Embezzlement Statutes. The U.S. Code includes several provisions outlawing embezzlement. These laws generally fall into the following three categories. Embezzlement from the government. The primary statute used for embezzlement prosecutions involving the federal government is 18 U.S.C. Section 641. This statute prohibits anyone from embezzling or converting to their use any U.S. government property. It also forbids anyone from selling or conveying U.S. government property without proper authority. Additionally, the U.S. Code bars federal employees from keeping government property instead of handing it over to the government. For example, a court clerk can face prosecution for pocketing a portion of the fees they collect. Similarly, a bank officer may be prosecuted for misapplying government bank deposits to unauthorized accounts or for unauthorized purposes. Embezzlement using a government position. Several statutes prohibit federal employees from abusing their position to embezzle from the public. For instance, a government employee cannot falsely certify that they paid an outside party while pocketing part or all of the payment. They also cannot ask a recipient of federal funds for a receipt with a false number, allowing the officer to withhold part of the payment. Finally, a catch-all offense prohibits federal workers from misusing funds that they were supposed to disburse. Another offense broadly criminalizes federal officers using their government position to embezzle money or property from others. For example, a federal bankruptcy trustee must safeguard a bankruptcy petitioner's property and can face charges if they transfer it to themselves or others without approval. Embezzlement from an industry protected by federal law. The federal government takes a special interest in the banking and shipping industries. Several statutes outlaw embezzlement in these sectors, including the following. Bank examiners cannot embezzle from the banks they regulate. Bank officers and employees cannot embezzle from their banks. Officers and workers cannot embezzle from lending, credit, or insurance institutions. No one can embezzle cargo or baggage transported by an interstate or international carrier. Managers and employees cannot embezzle money from an interstate or international carrier. These laws apply regardless of the victim's identity, meaning they prohibit embezzlement involving individuals and property unassociated with the federal government. Defenses against federal embezzlement charges in Missouri. Before getting into the possible criminal defense strategies you can raise to an accusation of embezzlement, it's important to address one argument that isn't permitted. Under federal law, restitution is not a valid defense. In other words, you can't assert that you shouldn't be charged because you replace the property. Prosecutors only need to prove that you intended to misappropriate the property, not that you intended to misappropriate it permanently. That being said, you have other options for defending yourself. Your criminal defense attorney may assert any of the following defenses. Lack of intent. Prosecutors must prove that you intended to take the property. If you didn't intend to deprive the owner of its possession or use, you lacked the intent necessary for a conviction. For example, you might raise this defense if the suspicious transaction resulted from a mistake or software glitch. Illegal search. Many embezzlement cases involve a forensic accounting analysis. While government agents have the authority to review their records for irregularities, they cannot search your phone or bank records unless they do one of the following. Obtain a search warrant. Get your permission to search. Prove that the search falls into an exception to the Fourth Amendment. If federal investigators failed to meet any of these requirements, a judge must throw out the evidence recovered in the course of the illegal search. Mistaken identity. In rare instances, a forensic analysis may wrongly point to you. If you have an alibi for the alleged act, your criminal defense attorney may be able to redirect the investigation to the right party. Possible punishments for federal embezzlement in Missouri. The penalties for embezzlement vary depending on the nature of the offense and the value of the property or money taken. Generally, embezzlement of less than $1,000 is punished as a misdemeanor, with imprisonment of up to 1 year and a fine of up to $1,000. However, once the value crosses the $1,000 threshold, you could face felony charges and a lengthy prison sentence. Why choose us to defend federal embezzlement charges in Missouri? At Combs Waterkotte, we bring decades of white-collar defense experience and deep knowledge of federal financial investigations. We uncover weak evidence, craft smart strategies, and fight for your reputation. What you get with our firm. 50-plus years of courtroom experience. Smart defense strategies tailored to federal law. Access to forensic and financial experts. Discreet, results-driven representation. Why clients trust Combs Waterkotte. Over 10,000 resolved criminal cases. Trusted by business owners and public professionals. Proven record in fighting federal prosecutors. Experienced in Missouri federal courts. How we defend against federal embezzlement charges in Missouri. We begin by listening to your story. Alleged breaches of trust can often stem from misunderstood but lawful actions. Your defense will be tailored to the facts. We'll push for dismissal or charge reduction, and go to trial if needed. We'll file strategic motions, challenge evidence, and present a strong case in court to protect your rights. Contact us about your Missouri federal embezzlement case. Federal embezzlement charges are serious. Combs Waterkotte has the skill and determination to take on the DOJ and federal investigators. Call 314-900-HELP or contact us online to start building your defense today.